Okay, let's have a look at probably my favourite piece of educational software. It's certainly the one that I've been using for a long time, and it's called Socrative. And it's a simple way of generating or asking questions for students and being able to see how they're getting on. So let's log in first. Now there are two choices for login. So let's show you what it looks like. Okay, there are two choices for login: student or teacher. Now in a minute the students will log in, but for now we're going to log in just as a teacher. And this is what you're kind of faced with to begin with. The first thing I think we're going to do is we're going to write a new quiz. So if I go to quizzes and I say I'm going to add a quiz, let's create a new one. Let's have a look and see what options we've got. So we'll call it a Newton's Law quiz. This bit here, just out of interest, is if you want to, you can share this with other teachers in your school. So if you give them this number, SOC 489, then other people will be able to just use this quiz if you want to. And there's a range of different choices we can have, any different questions we can have. Multiple choice is fairly straightforward. True or false or short answer. We're actually going to start with a short answer question. So the question we're going to have, and it's fairly easy to use this, is what is Newton's first law? Now, I'm not going to give them any options for answers. They're going to have to pick their own, write their own description. Okay, so there's no going to be marking here. There's no going to be clever marking. I'm going to have to read these different options, but I'm going to see whether they know it or not. I'm going to also give them an answer. So once they've pressed OK, they'll get given this answer. The second question, if I wanted to, I can add a photo. I don't think Newton's first law needs a photo desperately, but I'll use a photo in a minute for a different question. So let's go for a multiple choice now. So a multiple choice one, I can say Newton's second law is, and then give them a range of choices. Now I'm just going to be slightly naughty here, because I've told them that F equals m times a, which is slightly, well, it's very related to Newton's second law, but actually the correct answer is force is equal to the rate of change momentum. So let's tell them that's the correct answer. So I do that by clicking on it. So the green one is the answer that I'm expecting. Again, if I wanted to, I could add an image. Let's go for another multiple choice. So, oops, here we go. Who is pulling more in this tug of war? So for this one, they absolutely do need an image. So if I drag and drop an image onto there, so literally I've just dragged and dropped that in, and it should appear. And the answer to this one is the tension of the ropes are the same all the way along. We can make even better use of images if we want to. So let's have a go. Which of the force diagrams best explains the forces acting on this ball? And if I have created in advance an image that's got different ones, then I can different answers, then that'll be obvious to them. So there we go. That's it. I've got 4 questions in this quiz. I'm going to save and exit. There it is. It's ready to go. So if all I want to do is start the quiz, I'll go to Launch, Quiz. I'll pick the name of the quiz that I want to start, and I'll press Go. Now this is really interesting, because this depends on how you're working with your students. Do you want them to choose the routes that they go through? Like maybe do question 1, then maybe question 4, question 2. If you do, give them open navigation. I don't want that. If I want to say you must do question 1, and then I'll tell you when you can do question 2, I'll go teacher paced. Today I want them to do one after the other, but I want them to get feedback. So once they've done the question, I want them to see the answer that I've already written. So that's why I'll enable instant feedback, and you'll see there are different other selection of options there, but I'm happy with the defaults for those. So instant feedback is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to start the quiz. So that activity should be started. Now, anyone that wants to can now log in using that name there, Mr. Denton Science. So let's have a look at what a student would see. So student, their screen, well, it starts with the same place. They click login and they go student login. Now they have to type that room name, they call it, but it's a short ID that identifies me as a teacher. So Mr. Denton Science, they join in, they type in their name, Rory, and then they go through it. So what I'll do is I will type some entries, and then we can have a look and see what the students, well actually let's go through and see what the students say. What is Newton's first law? I'll get that wrong. F equals ma. Oh, I get the answer. That's handy. Newton's second law is, I'll get this one right. Who is pulling more in this tug of war? Oh, I'm pretty sure that's the red meanie. The answer should have been C there. And which of the force diagrams best explains the forces acting on the ball? The answer to that one is B. Now, if we look at what we can see in the quiz here, you can see I made two mistakes in my quiz actually. So I didn't tell it what the right answer was. So it's only marked question 2. It would never be able to mark question 1, but it should be able to mark questions 3 and 4. So if I go in, let's see if it'll let me do this whilst it's running. So let's go in and see if I can edit it. So they're pulling the same. The answer to this one is B. So let's go back to my results. Let's do a refresh. Okay, so it's not automatically changed it, but that's fine. It would automatically mark it. Now let's see what happens if someone else logs onto the room as well. Okay, so now somebody else has logged on and they've answered it as well, so we can see kind of what they're doing here. So we've now got Amy and Rory logged on. And I can tell at a glance, okay, so I don't need to worry too much about question 4 with this particular class. Question 3 I definitely need to spend some time with. It can't mark the short answer question itself, so I'll have to go in and have a look at those. And oh, they both got it wrong. That's annoying. So I can see the whole class, or I can drill down and look at kind of the individual questions. So a really kind of great summary. At any point I want to, I can finish the quiz, stop new people logging in, and the results will be available for me if I want to. So I can look at the reports, I can download it. I can download it later if I want to. So I can kind of save it if I think I need some evidence. So that's it in a nutshell in terms of its kind of basic use. But there are some wonderful other features or wonderful other ways of using it that I don't think are obvious to begin with. So what I'll do is I'll show you just a couple of those. So first of all, let's launch a quiz. This time I'm going to use some questions. These are based around a wonderful book called What If by Randall Munro. So instead of doing instant feedback, I'll do open navigation. Now I'll have a look at what the student's doing. So they're going to log in, and it goes through and explains big style questions. If everyone on the planet stayed away from each other for a couple of weeks, wouldn't the common cold be wiped out? Well, never more pertinent than whilst we're still in lockdown. But there's a series of questions that don't have simple yes or no answers. And so as a student, I would expect maybe 2, 3 or 4 of them to work together answering these questions. But all of the answers can come up, and then I can share different answers. I can collate all of that together. So I really like doing this with what I call rich and quirky questions. But that's not the only really cool thing. So if we press finish on that, we can do quick questions as well. So this is a question that I just type in. So if I type in this ball, this question, you throw a ball in the air, you press OK, all of the students get it. Now let's see what happens if in a few minutes the students have typed in different answers. Okay, so 2 people have submitted an answer to this quick question that I've put in there. What I can do is I can put it to the vote. Now that's a really nice way of saying, okay, let's have a look at what people have typed, and then all of the students get to read all of the answers that their peers have written and decide which one of them is best. And I have to say I much prefer that one. So I will say that's the one I like. Other students are doing the same thing. Yeah, 100% of the students think that that is the better answer. So loads of different ways we can use it. It just needs some imagination over the kind of the questions you're going to ask. Yeah, I don't need a report for that. The one thing, how did I get Mr. Denton Science? Well, if you go into the room name and you click that, you can change the name that you want. So you can make it something that suits you. Fantastic. That's Socrative in a few minutes. Thank you very much.